Hello guys, welcome to this week's video. Okay, look, that doesn't count. Okay, I'm gonna redo that just real quick. Yeah, okay. I forgot because we don't have a video a week. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Ready?
Yeah.
More like, am I ready? But anyway, all right. Like, why are you smiling like that? Stop fucking laughing. All
It's
right,
gonna be
come on,
hard
we
to do
got it, we
better
got
than
it.
that.
Come on, lock it in. Let's go.
Alright.
Hello guys, welcome to a video. Today we're going to be talking about the best head coaching available jobs, as well as a job that we think possibly could be available, like the Texans job. You'll see how we're going to rate it in a few minutes. First of all, Devin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dustin?
I'm good. So, first of all, we already uploaded our playoff predictions video. Go check that out. Controversial stuff, maybe. Different opinions, yes, of course. Go check out that video. We just posted it today as we're recording this on Wednesday. Um, and then we'll be recording our podcast later this week. Have it up before Saturday's games. Make sure you check that out as well. Check out all of our links, our TikTok, our Instagram, all that stuff, all in our description below. And yeah, so this is how we're gonna do this. We have another tier list, of course, the best way to rank, and we have all available jobs right here in the bottom, as well as a possible job in the Texans because there's been rumors that David Culley may or may not be fired. So we put him in there just in case it does happen a day after this video. We completely miss out. So we did it just in case. Even if he doesn't get fired, it's still a good talk to have. So we're gonna agree consensually, of course, what we find. We'll talk about the jobs, stuff like that, what we like, what we don't like about them, and we'll rate them 1 through 8. Okay, so how should we start this, Devin? Do you want to start from the bottom, from the top, first team in the Dolphins? How do you want to do this?
You know what? Let's start off with the worst job. Let's
Okay,
start with the
the worst
absolute
job.
worst job, New York Giants.
Really?
I think the worst job is New York Giants. And I don't think it's even close.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's close. I think it's got to be the New York Giants. There's just too many issues, and I mean obviously the head coaching was one of the main issues, but quarterback is one of the biggest issues. It is, and like Daniel Jones is not the answer. That's to all the Giants fans out there. Daniel Jones is most definitely not the answer. And I mean, Mike Lennon, I still don't understand why he's even in the NFL, but he somehow is. That team is an absolute wreck. And especially compared to these other teams, when you look at every single other team on this board right now, they have a quarterback. They have an established quarterback. And that automatically would, like, what's the word? Compel me to want to coach one of those teams opposed to the New York Giants. If a coach is ready to sit there and build a team from scratch again, I mean, by all means, the challenge is yours. If that's what a coach wants to do, go for it. But nah, it's I can't. I personally wouldn't as a coach. I want to, like I said, compared to these other teams, I want an established quarterback.
See,
Except for one team that really doesn't have one. But overall as a team, they're there.
I think I would almost argue the Texans is worse. Yes, the Texans, um, they do they have the third overall pick in the draft, right?
Hmm.
They do have a young quarterback in position, but overall their roster is nowhere near as good. They lost arguably their best defender this season. They cut him, Zach Cunningham, and they don't really have a culture. Like there was reports that Zach Cunningham was late to a COVID test, and people weren't really interested. Yes, they've shown some fight this year, but I don't know. I think the Texans. I mean, the Giants do have 2 first-round picks. Um, both of them are top 10. They aren't in necessarily a great division. The Texans are going to have to play an up and coming Jaguars team with a bright quarterback, right? They're going to have to play
Hmm.
the Colts, which, is a laughing stock right now, but they're still a good roster. And they're going to have to play Tennessee, who is up at the top of the league right now, obviously. So, and in the NFC East, you got Dallas, who's up there, yes. You got Philly, who has not beat a winning team this year, and you have Washington, who is having their own struggles in finding a quarterback as well. They just have a little bit of a better developed roster. I mean, if you look at that Giants defense a year ago, it was top 10. They have
Yeah,
the
this is
talent
a solid
there.
defense.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have the talent there. I think that they had a culture issue this year, and I think they were also a little bit unfortunate with injuries. I mean, when you have Daniel Jones go down with a neck injury and he can't play the rest of the year, then you have Mike Glennon come in. Not only does he suck, but he also gets hurt. Then you have Jake Fromm playing, who you signed mid-year to come in, and he sucked. And your best player is not only in and out of the lineup, but you can't run the football because you're always down or your offensive line's not the best. You do have a little bit of struggles on offense, but I think that's something that if you develop, you're gonna have a middle of the pack defense. You're gonna have a middle of the pack offense. I don't know. And another thing that worries me about the Texans, they signed a lot of people this offseason to 1 year deals. Desmond King, who's been one of the better corners on the team, 1 year deal. Now by the way, you lose Zach Cunningham. You got Eric Reed, their safety. I believe
Hmm.
he is out. I think his contract's done as well, and I believe he actually had discipline issues with David Culley this year also. So yes, I understand that we're talking if they were to fire David Culley, but you know, he might not want to come back after what he went through this year. Yeah, but they do have one leverage, which is why I will allow the Giants to be bottom, and I'll put the Texans right above them. They can
I
trade
agree with
Deshaun
that. Yeah.
Watson. They can trade Deshaun Watson still. Obviously, he's going to have his court case, I believe, in February, so we'll find the impact of that. But if they are still able to get stuff out, from him in exchange for a trade, then they are put in a better position because they do get picks, stuff like that. So I will. That's why I will agree to put them above. But I would even argue that they are both interchangeable. But
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I can see your point. I could definitely see. And I guess the thing you could give to the Giants is that they do have solid weapons,
they
and
do. Yeah.
they do have a good running back. I mean, unfortunately, didn't play well this year. But then again, Giants had a second year line,
Yeah.
and but like you were saying with the Texans, if Deshaun Watson is cleared of his case, that I mean, they can build a super strong foundation over there in Houston. Trade him for a bunch of picks or maybe
Yeah.
even players. Maybe even some good, maybe a combination of both, a first round pick and maybe a good player. I mean, Deshaun Watson is worthy of that, especially with how young he is
Yeah.
and how well he performed. To describe Deshaun Watson, he's a Lamar that can throw.
Way better.
I mean,
Throw way
yeah,
better.
exactly, way better. And I'm not gonna lie, like I forgot about Deshaun Watson all week, all year. And if he gets cleared of his case, I'm gonna be pretty excited to watch him
Yeah.
because it was fun watching him play in Houston. Yeah, he brought the Houston to the playoffs, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Not last year, but the year
The
before,
year before
they
that with
beat they
Hopkins.
yeah they beat Buffalo. They
That's
beat they
right.
beat
That's
Buffalo and they
right.
went to Kansas City. They were up 24-0 until Kansas City came back.
That's right. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so that should be exciting. And I mean, you saw what he did with the Texans.
yeah,
Once he left, Hopkins left, JJ Watt left, and that team was like destroyed.
crumbled. Yeah.
I mean, they absolutely sucked. But the year after.
And I think we can definitely agree that these two are the bottom of the barrel jobs. And
Oh,
there's a gap
easily,
between the rest of them for sure. So let's go ahead.
easily.
What do you think? What do you think for number
Number
six?
five. Number five. Let's see.
Six, 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 six.
Oh shit. Number six. I
Yeah.
can't count. Number six.
This is tough.
Yeah, I'm right now stuck in between. Huh. I'm stuck between Miami and Vikings.
Really?
Here's why I say Miami. And I'm not gonna pick them, but here's why I'm stuck in between them is because Miami, brought. If I remember correctly, the GM didn't want Tua, but Flores wanted Tua.
Yeah.
Now that Flores is gone, does that not create a conflict between Tua and the GM? Because what could happen now is that the GM could be like, "Oh, let's trade him off. He's gone." Let's say a new head coach comes in, and then they trade him off, and now they have to find another quarterback to, uh, replace Tua. And the Dolphins are not in a situation right now where they can sit there and be like, "Oh, we're just a quarterback away."
Yeah.
They are not there. I mean, like I said, they're a solid, good team, but they still need some developing pieces in order to really start, contending for the playoffs and even the Super Bowl. So I would I would choose the Dolphins. I'm choosing the Dolphins actually.
I
I'm
agree.
gonna go with the Dolphins just because of that reason. just because Flores wanted Tua, the GM didn't want Tua, does that ruin the atmosphere in Miami, or does it create like some type of tension between him and the GM?
Yeah, and no, I totally agree. I think there's been reports that the GM's not that good. The GM survived the Adam Gase time. The GM
Hmm.
went through the Brian Flores time. So, and it was a bad fire. I got to be honest, it was a terrible fire. So I'm gonna put
Yeah.
Miami there too. I think they need to draft better. The 1 year they had, I believe that was 2019, the year they drafted
Hmm.
Tua. They had 3 first-round picks. And respectfully, as of right now, they missed on all 3. I say they missed on Tua, not because Tua's bad, because they could have had Herbert. I say then they drafted
Yeah.
Austin Jackson, who I believe was rated one of the worst tackles in the NFL this year. Then they went and drafted a corner who I believe only plays special teams for them. He does not start. And all 3 of these were first round picks. They missed. So I think their GM's not very great. I think their roster is okay, but I think Brian Flores is just a great coach and helped them, lead them to some wins. I think that showed in the Titans game because I believe Mike Vrabel's a great coach, and I think Flores gets outcoached, team gets smoked. I just think that's what it
Yeah.
is. And that's all I can really
And
say.
and not just that. God, what was I about to say? I was about to say something about Oh yeah, the fact, and then the fact that they won like 7 straight. The
Yep.
fact they were in a position where like, okay, the Dolphins are one of the worst teams in the league. To, oh shit, the Dolphins have a chance to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you rarely ever see teams make a turn like that, and for Flores to be able to do that, and I'm not gonna lie,
100%.
I started, yeah, I started like the way that Tua was playing
Yeah.
and how that offense was starting to click. I was like, okay, now they've got something going down there in Miami, and then like I said, I don't agree with the firing as well. I think you give him another year or two, give him one last year to kind of prove himself, see if he can make it to the playoffs after once making the playoffs this year. If not, then you fire him. But no,
Yeah. And I'm gonna go ahead and put number 5 in. This is where I disagree. I think this job is worse than the Vikings job. And the reason I say that is yes, they do have a young quarterback in Fields. They have Darnell Mooney still there. They have a solid defense, but they don't have a first round pick this year. They don't have a first round pick. They're gonna lose Allen Robinson, who produced nothing for them, but is still a really good receiver. Um,
hmm
their offensive line's not great, and their secondary is also not great. They have some pieces down there like Jalen Johnson in the secondary, but their secondary is not great. They're also going to lose Akeem Hicks, who is a very underrated nosed tackle slash defensive tackle in the league. They're going to lose him probably as well. So I think they're going to lose some spots and not be able to have the draft capital like a first round pick to help produce that. Um, but obviously, and
okay, actually, yeah,
and I think they need a specific coach. They need someone to come in and help develop Justin Fields. And I think that's why
yeah,
I think, Brian Flores is interesting here. But Brian Flores has also made the mistake twice now trying to bring in a 2 different offensive coordinators. He brought last year, let's not forget, for Tua, he brought 2 offensive coordinators in that last year. He had dual offensive coordinators last year for the Miami Dolphins.
hmm
Tua's development has not been great. The question is, I don't know if he's a great fit there because who knows if he can really bring the offensive coordinators in to develop a guy like Justin Fields. So I would think they have to go an offensive coach and hire.
agree.
I think if they make the right hire, it really could work for them, but they're going to have to hit this hire. So that's why I put them there. And then I think that you also said it earlier, right above it, I got to agree with this.
Yep,
I,
100% agree. Like the defense is shaky. The the Vikings defense is super shaky.
yeah,
But when you look at the offense, their offense is like high caliber. Like you compare this type of offense to like some of the big teams like the Cowboys and the Packers. I'm not saying they're as good as them, but they're like up there
yeah,
with those
offensively, yeah.
teams. When you have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, like and as much as people like to throw shit at Kirk Cousins played solid this year and a lot better than a lot of quarterbacks have. So the offensively they have a phenomenal foundation point for whatever coach decides to come in, but defensively they've got to get their shit together.
Yeah. And the thing is, they have pieces on defense. They have Patrick Peterson. They have Everson Griffin. They have Daniil
Hmm.
Hunter. They have Harrison Smith. They have Eric Kendricks. They have Anthony Barr as well. They have pieces on defense. The scheme wasn't really it. So I think that if you can bring in I think Brian Flores would fit perfectly there because they have a developed offense. Like they have a veteran quarterback. They have the pieces on offense. You can bring in a guy like Brian Flores who could help out the
Hmm.
defense a little bit, be a strong leader, and because the offense is already developed, and they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs. I just think Mike Zimmer could not get over the hump in that scenario because he was a defensive coach and the defense wasn't producing. That's the struggle when you're a defensive coach and your philosophy is heavy
Right.
defense and you're not producing. That just doesn't work. I think Flores could come in, and if that defense produces, they're dangerous because we know what their offense can do. You know what I mean? And Kirk had a very good year. They have Dalvin Cook, they have Justin Jefferson, they have Adam Thielen, let's not forget, and they still have a first round pick. That's the thing that they put over Chicago.
And that I agree with you with that. I 100% agree.
Yeah, so I think it's a good job, and I think that's a good W. So what do you think you should put at three?
Okay, at three, this is gonna be interesting because now we're down to three teams who have all decent rosters. Some younger than others. Um, so here, I think I'm gonna put the Raiders. I think I'm gonna put the Raiders.
Both
Here's
agree.
why.
Both agree.
I was actually tempted to put the Raiders at 8, only because the interim head coach right now has already got him to the playoffs. So I don't see any reason why
Yeah,
um he doesn't get the head coaching job. But I didn't want to have that play factor in this ranking list here. But
because we're
if
gonna
I did have,
assume.
if that was,
Yeah,
yeah, we're gonna assume that the positions available. Number three would be a good one. Derek Carr, he is playing great this year, and for after all the shit that has happened this year,
yep.
it makes it even that much greater. And they have pieces on offense. Hunter Renfro and Darren Waller have been great pieces, along with
Josh
Josh Jacob.
Jacobs. Yep.
Good foundational offense. Once again, it's just that defense is just it's very inconsistent, but they still have pieces on there that definitely assist them
Max
with
Crosby.
the game. He's a big one too. I love watching him play. It is fun watching him.
Yep.
Max Crosby's a fun guy to watch, and if you can add one more good piece to that defensive line, that's a scary D line to go against.
Yep.
I definitely think their secondary needs help though.
Yeah, and I would agree. Their secondary needs help, but is also a little older. Um, but they
Hmm.
have the picks. They have that.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure what their cap situation is like, but I don't think they're in the negative. They definitely shouldn't be like no having no money. If they have solid amount of money, they have the picks. I think they can go out, get some defensive pieces, maybe upgrade the offensive line a little bit. And I think they're dangerous as well. I think they have the ability to soon. You take that job. You're taking a playoff team. When you take a playoff team, that's a good job no matter what. I mean, yes, I think Rich Bisaccia has done a great job there, and they've went through a lot of stuff this year. But I still think that they are a playoff team roster wise. And the AFC is very tough. It's not like they just get into the AFC playoffs by. I mean, they have to be a good team overall to get in the AFC, especially when you're competing against Baltimore, the Chargers. What other team? Like Denver was in the
The
hunt for a little bit.
Chiefs.
Yeah, like they're those teams at the bottom of the hunt as well as the teams that are at the top. It's a very competitive. Oh, the Colts, for example, as well. It's a very
Hmm.
competitive AFC. So they got in the playoffs. It's gonna be a good roster to take, and you can add some pieces to it. But I agree. If we were doing it off the chances of them being available, they wouldn't have been on. I don't think. I think they're number 8 because I just don't see that job being available because Bisaccia's done a great job. But obviously, um,
Are you
we're
ready
just
for a
gonna
hot
go on
take?
assume. Um,
Are you ready? Are you ready for a hot take?
I mean, I'm ready for your hot take. I don't know if I'll necessarily agree.
The
Don't do it.
microphone's in view now. You know what's happening. So I think, hear me out. I think the Raiders can win their division if they gather the proper defensive pieces.
Oh well, yeah.
Why? Why? Because offensively, they are very capable. Unfortunately, they're not as capable as Patrick Mahomes. However, and this is why I think that the Raiders could win the division next year, is if they gather the proper defensive pieces. It is not that hard to have a better defense than the Chiefs. I'm sorry to say, but that's just facts. I say this a lot about teams, but a lot of teams secondary, how do I word this? A lot of teams secondaries are really terrible or just not good enough. However, it is masked by the defensive line's ability to get to the quarterback and apply pressure, and which ultimately can lead to terrible throws, sacks, fumbles, and all those good things. And I think that's what's honestly has saved the Chiefs is that defensive line. Without that good defensive line, I don't think the Chiefs would have the number 2 seed. And I honestly think that another team would be up there in their spot right now.
Huh.
So that's just my take. I think that defensively, the Chiefs have so much to work on. So much to work on. If Raiders can get the proper pieces, the Chiefs are going to be in trouble.
That's
Going to be in big,
interesting
big trouble.
because I don't even think they are they're the most likely to upset the Chiefs if I think that this team has the best opportunity next year to upset the Chiefs.
If they get the proper pieces, though, I
But
agree.
they
I
only
think
need
if
one
I think
piece in comparison to the Raiders needing multiple pieces on defense.
true, true. I can agree with that, but that's if they can get that piece and what they have to sacrifice for that piece. Because if they want a good piece at that position, they're going to need to give up something really good, something valuable, in order to receive that piece. And especially with the how the market's going to be next year for that,
Hmm.
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
And I actually want you to choose your second one. Go ahead, Dustin. You choose the second one. I think we're on the same page here. Yep, on the exact same
on
page.
the same page. You have to.
Would you? Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Jacksonville, I think. Look, I am a big Trevor Lawrence guy. I coming into the draft, I thought Trevor Lawrence was. I think a lot of people also thought, he was the second coming of Andrew Luck coming out of the draft. He shows a lot of potential, big arm talent, bigger quarterback, has the ability to move. Kind of reminds me of Josh Allen in a certain way. I think he's a little bit
Mhm.
more he, he was more accurate than Josh Allen was at the beginning when Josh Allen first came in.
Oh
But
yeah.
he has the same kind of, um, player traits. I guess is the best. Yeah, I guess player traits is the best way to say it. The ability to move, um, big arm, bigger body. So yeah, I like Jacksonville. I think they have an established quarterback. They have some pieces. And I like honestly, and I think a big thing is that what their defense did last Sunday against the Colts, being able to stop the run, they have pieces. First of all, on defense, they have a very good pass rusher in Josh Allen. They have a very good inside linebacker in Miles Jack. They have a solid corner in Shaquille Griffin. They have pieces. If they can continue to develop the roster, get stability at the head coaching position, and obviously they're going to need some help on the offensive line. They have two very good running backs, Travis Etienne, who unfortunately we did not get to see this year, but is very good, elusive, can catch the ball. And they also have James Robinson, who we've shown when he gets the ball, he's able to run well, especially with the offensive line that he has. So I like the pieces they have now. I think they can continue to develop those pieces, get some more pieces in the draft. And here's my thing, right? I think for Jacksonville to set themselves up for the best situation next year, I think they should trade the number one pick away. I
For
think
what type of position you're thinking? Because I think they might need a receiver too as well.
I think they should trade down and get more picks. I'm thinking
Okay.
let's say a team like like let's say the Giants maybe they like an edge rusher or someone that needs an edge rusher because edge rushers at the top of the big boards mock drafts right
Hmm.
now. So let's say someone really wants an
Yeah.
edge. You trade up, maybe go for maybe there's one team that likes a quarterback at the top. And maybe they do it. Although I don't think this is the best year for it. I think they could try to make a move, trade down, get some more picks, and fill your roster out a little bit more with young talent. Let them all develop together, and in 2 to 3 years, you might be ready to make a push for the top of the AFC South or whatever. I think that's probably the best way for them to go. And when it comes to Denver, we've already basically said it. They are a good quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders. and I stick by
and
that.
and especially with all of these quarterbacks that are going to be in free agents, like
Yeah.
let's not forget this. If I'm correct, James Winston is free agent this year.
Yep.
Um, don't be surprised if Russell Wilson's gone to Seattle.
Possibly. Yeah.
Uh,
Of course,
Aaron
Aaron.
Rodgers is still a question
Yep.
mark
But
because he's made a lot of comments about retiring. Devontae Adams being his favorite player. For me, when I see that, it's like, okay, it's either he stays with the Packers or he's gone.
yeah.
But maybe there's that chance where he looks at Denver's like, you know what? Maybe I'll go there. And I believe there's something about Colorado. He has something in Colorado. Is that where the Jeopardy game show is hosted?
No, I believe his girlfriend has some type of girlfriend or wife has a connection to Colorado.
Colorado, yeah, something like that, which like could incline him to be like, hey, why not go here anyways? Maybe get spend more time with the wife, and be close by, or
Yep.
whatever the case is going on in Colorado, that might incline him to, move over there and play football for the Denver Broncos, who already have a good team with a bunch of young talent, and maybe, and if Aaron Rodgers wants to do it, he could pull a Brady. I think he could easily pull a Brady and play till he's like 44. I mean,
Yep.
he's still running around and throwing like he's
On a broken
in
toe.
his 30s. Yeah, on a broken toe. And not just that, he there's a lot of young guys on that roster. A lot of young guys, especially receivers. When you have KJ
And
Hamler,
yeah,
Jerry Judy,
Hamler.
those two are
Yeah.
big stars.
Sutton. You got
Mm,
Patrick. You have Noah Fant at tight end.
don't
Javante
forget the guy
Williams
in the
at running back.
backfield. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
And
Hell yeah.
here's a big piece, I think. Denver is going to interview the Packers offensive coordinator for the head coaching job. I know a lot of teams are, but I think Denver's roster is the best set up, obviously by this tier list. So maybe you see a reunion. I think that Denver needs an offensive-minded head coach because their defense is so good, and bring in a defensive coordinator that just focuses on defense, and you might have you have a playoff contending, and then depending on the quarterback, even Super Bowl contending team right there. So
Question for you then. Like, and I could see where like if the offensive coordinator for the Packers goes to Denver Broncos, I could definitely see the possibility of him going there,
yeah,
reuniting with a new team. My question is though, if Roger, now I got two questions. I got two questions. I want you to answer for both of them.
okay.
If Aaron Rodgers and the Packers win the Super Bowl this year, does he retire or does he stay or does he go to a different team? Which one do you think is most likely in order?
I think if they win the Super Bowl, he stays.
Okay, and what would you say is the next option? He retires or
Yeah, I,
he
I, I
moves to a
think it's
different team?
stay, retire, leave. I don't think he wants to leave, to be honest.
Now, what if they lose? What if they lose the NFC Championship again?
I
Or
think it's
no,
still the
even
same.
worse, even if they lose the divisional.
I think it's still the same. Because he's already made comments that he has not only improved his relationship with the front office, but they've also made some moves like being in the Odell sweepstakes. They've done things like bringing Rasul Douglas off the practice squad from Arizona, who's came in and now has been a huge contributor. Like he had the game-winning interception against Arizona. He had 2 picks against the Browns. Like he has been a producer at corner for them. Um, yeah, I gotta say, I think he stays no matter. I think he stays. I think retires, or I think he goes somewhere else. I think it's in that order.
My personal opinion, I think if he wins, I agree with the order. He stays, retires, or he goes to a different team.
Yeah.
If he loses again, let's just theoretically say they lose again in the NFC Championship. He goes to a different team. He retires. He stays, and here's why. I think that you can only lose so much in an NFC Championship game, in my opinion, and losing 5 out of the 6 times would almost aggravate me and like upset me a lot, especially when you see someone like Tom Brady, who's winning all these NFC, AFC Championship games and stuff like that. And he's constantly winning the Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers, knows. I mean, Aaron Rodgers right now, talent wise, is better than Tom Brady. It is very clear that he has a better throwing arm. I still do think Tom Brady has just a better like mentally he understands the game better than Rodgers does. I'm not saying Rodgers doesn't understand it, but Tom Brady just you know
Understands
especially
it.
with his playoff experience, yeah, understands it more based on his playoff experience and the Super Bowl experience. Um, I just I would see him leaving Green Bay as a business move and not as a personal move. That's how I would see it, and that's what I would do. I respectively, like, hey, I loved it here. Thank you all for your time, but I want to go somewhere where I can win it all instead of just winning these little titles. Because at the end of the day, that's all the division title is. That's all the wild card divisional NFC Championship games are these little titles. Because at the end of the day, everyone's for that Super Bowl ring, or going for that Super Bowl. Yeah, going for the Super Bowl ring. And you know, what's the point of going to the NFC Championship 5 times and losing, or 6 times and losing five, and only make it to Super Bowl once? You know what I mean?
So
It's almost like a Drew Brees situation where, well, actually, his Drew Brees situation is different because he just kind of got fucked over in the playoffs and can't handle the Bucks. But anyways, go on.
I think
Go ahead.
one last thing before we gotta end this video. I think the thing is the difference between this year and all of the other years losing. I think if he loses, it's not because the roster is not good enough or because the front office was just unwilling to make moves. Like for example, drafting Jordan Love did not help. Do like 2 years ago when they drafted him, it just did not help. Who did they drafted a corner this year? Like this year, they actually went out and tried to improve the roster around Rodgers, and they went and they competed in free agency against each of the top teams for big time free agents. They did what they needed to do to help him win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I just
Mhm.
don't think he would. I think if they lose, it's not because they just didn't have the roster. You know what I mean? I think it's because they lost the game because they lost the game, or maybe Aaron doesn't have a good game, or the defense gives up too many points, or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, they have they lose, they lose. But it's not because the roster's not good enough, and I think that's the difference. And I just think that's why he won't leave because yes, we lost, but the roster's improving. And who says that this year they won't go again and draft another guy that supports Aaron? Or who even says that they won't, if Aaron Rodgers goes, hey, I'll play another 5 years, 6 years, whatever, right? They trade Jordan Love. Then they get more picks. And then they build more of the roster around Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. I see what you're saying, and I agree. If it was the same instance as last year, fine. I agree. But I just think they built the roster this year better than they did a year ago or 2 years ago when they drafted Jordan Love and they drafted a backup running back who's yes is helpful now, but it still was a backup running back in the second round. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I kind of see it's like okay, that's where his problem was, and I understand that. And he already came out and said, I appreciate what they've been doing. They've been going after players, and I appreciate. The relationship has bonded well better together now. Like they're closer now than they were. So I don't know. I just think a lot of things badly would have to go like between him and the owners for him to leave instead of them just losing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
totally can see him leaving too. It's not like let's be honest. He also, had his thing this offseason for a reason. So it's always possible. All of it's
yeah.
possible with Aaron. So I mean, but yeah.
I
All right.
think I think we'll see more after the playoffs
Hundred
if they were
percent,
to win or
hundred
lose,
percent. We'll
for
see more
sure.
during this offseason, especially like last year. We saw it the day of opening night of the draft. That's when we first saw it, and that's when
Oh yeah, I remember
all
that.
shit went
Everyone
loose.
was
Yeah.
Oh, that
So
was hilarious. Everyone was going wild on all the social media
exactly.
platforms.
So, all right. Anything else? Good list.
Not,
Things
yeah, I
good.
like this list.
All right. Well, we always appreciate you guys checking out, liking, subscribing, commenting. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Um, leave more comments. Like we appreciate you guys' comments on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. We appreciate it all. We really do appreciate all the support. Go check out other links in our description. Do all that fun stuff. Check out the podcast we're releasing later this week. Go check out the video we dropped earlier. And yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
See ya.